Good afternoon, everybody. That's the closing bell on today's Market Action Friday, November 2nd. I am Jonathan van Clute for Stock Navigators. And just another reminder, as always, if you like these videos, please do let us know. Give me a comment and just tell me what you'd like me to do more of, or what you'd like me to analyze. If there's anything you'd like me to do differently, or anything that would be helpful to you that I'm not already doing, then by all means, let me know in a comment. Give us a like on the video if you find these useful to you, and be sure to subscribe and click that little alarm bell if you'd like to be reminded in the mornings and afternoons of our pre-market and post-market analyses. So with that, let's take a look at what happened today. So really weird, very volatile, but ultimately a completely flat day in the S&P 500. I mean, you can just see right there, we have gone absolutely nowhere, but we had a very nice range. So today was a day trader's really dream day. There were some great trades in both directions. I had some really good trades today. Ended up actually playing more the short side today than the long side, but that was my day and ended my week on a really good note. I'm hoping you did as well. So S&P, it was hit that 21 EMA, and it's acting as resistance. So it poked up through it and just shot right back down below it. So right this moment, this is looking to me like our pattern of lows and lower highs is intact, and that we are probably looking to make another lower low. Obviously, we have to actually take out this level here to do that, to be confirmed that that is what's happening. So it's also entirely possible that we make a higher low, maybe someplace like the top of this buy zone down here, and then bounce up from there to establish a change of trend direction. So right now is an inflection point in time, I guess you could say. It could really go either direction, but those are what we're watching for. I think the most likely scenario is that pullback. I think that this move is a little bit overextended now, and it needs time to rest. So either a pullback, or I mean, it could just kind of go sideways for a bit before deciding what it wants to do. But right now, we are right in between these two zones. We've got the buy zone, a very large buy zone down below, and we've got the much smaller sell zone just right overhead. And we're sandwiched right in between them. But at the moment, the trend is down. We have broken this descending trend line here, and that's great and all, but the trend has not turned yet. That was just kind of a first indication to watch for. So right now, we really need to climb over the 21 EMA and hold up there. We need to stay above that. And of course, get a breakout of the box would be great as well. See that on a daily, and then you really know that the trend has, in fact, started to turn. Intraday, as I was mentioning, there was a lot of opportunities today. We had some really crazy swinging action today, and there were trades to be had in both directions. For me, the bulk of my trading today was to the short side, and that worked out very well for today's action. Navigator did go below the zero line this morning, and or excuse me, this afternoon, lunchtime rather. And right when it touched the top of this buy zone down here. So it just kind of poked through it and then bounced right off. So the Navigator has gone negative, but is holding sideways at the moment. And, wouldn't be surprised to see it go sideways-ish overnight. That is a pretty common thing. Doesn't seem to want to establish a lot of trend right now. We get stuff like this where a lot of sideways happens overnight. But we might also get some stuff like this. Occasionally, we get these overnight moves that just decide to propel us in a new direction. Although we also can give it all back. I mean, here's this big move here, and we just gave it all back today. So very, very volatile times. If you are able to trade this kind of market action, then it's a great time to be a trader. Right now, we also have a slightly divergent Navigator, which really you could say played out already in the last few hours on the 60-minute anyway. We had rising prices, higher highs. We had descending lower highs on the Navigator, and then we crossed the zero line just in the last few hours. So definitely at the moment anyway, everybody is looking a little bearish. We're looking bearish on the 60. We're looking bearish on the daily. And, that's why I think the pullback is the most likely outcome. So today in crude, crude fell further and dropped actually below that ascending channel line, that bottom channel line there, and is now making its way to the bottom of this buy zone here. So that is what I'd be watching as somebody who wants to trade crude. Is I'm either if I'm looking to initiate a new position, I'm either going short and I'm having a fairly tight range here. I'm not expecting huge things. I'm looking for maybe a target of the bottom of this buy zone here. But you need to understand, if you're going to go short in this area, you're going short in a buy zone. That is generally a high risk proposition. So you want to be really careful with that. Otherwise, you're waiting. You're waiting for a long setup and see what happens when it gets a little further down into this zone, see if this holds, and if it bounces up and wants to resume an upward leg of this channeling behavior. On the short term, of course, you can kind of trade whichever direction you want to go, depending on what your rules and techniques are. Today was primarily a down day, but I mean, we had some pretty volatile bars. So there were plays to be had potentially in both directions, depending on what kind of trader you are and how fast you trade, what kind of time frame. If you're on a 1 or 5 minute, or if you're trading 30 or 60s, something like that. Right now, that 21 EMA again holding as resistance. Crude did manage to poke above it in the 8 a.m. or so hour, and was immediately just shoved back down below it. So the 21 EMA for right now is definitely holding as resistance. Did I say support a moment ago? I can't remember now. I feel like I said support. I meant resistance if I did. We've also, of course, got the sell zone overhead as well, which is acting as an extra layer. So there's some definite resistance happening in this zone, and crude really would need to climb above that to start to see any bullishness entering into this market on the shorter time frame. On the slightly longer term outlook, again, other than this buy zone here that it is currently testing inside, if it breaks below that, then we would be looking for a challenge of this zone down here. So if you are a bear in crude, then that's what you're looking for. You're looking for a break of this and then a possible test of this. So that's what you're watching for all you oil bears out there's. Now let's see what gold did today, which pretty much is summed up in a couple of words is not much. We had a very small range day today compared to what it's been lately. I mean, yesterday we had this huge candle here, and then today we kind of had this little wah wah. Not much. Just bounced actually back and forth between the value area, the blue line there, and the red line of the box. We just stayed sandwiched right between those two levels. And on the intraday, on the 60-minute time frame, you can see it right there. We had this one kind of wide-ranging bar here at the open, and then just sort of narrowing, and not much. So gold seems to kind of be just trying to both digest maybe this big move that happened here, and actually both these big moves, but really this sideways chop, this messy area here is what it's just sort of stuck in. It seems like anytime it gets up into this region, it just kind of goes sideways. So that's where we're at. Gold indecisive, not really going anywhere right this moment. Navigator's green though, so that's bullish potentially for gold. But on the short term, Navigator, we are descending. And the Navigator is just grinding its way lower. And if we see that break down below the zero line, then we might see some bearishness come into this market, and perhaps able to push gold down for a test of the 21 EMA, perhaps. Obviously watching for a close below that box. And if we get that, then there's a very reasonable chance that gold decides to complete its test of these levels here. But assuming gold and the broader markets stay non-correlated, then that would need to see the market have a good solid recovery as well in order for gold to plummet like that. And right this moment, I feel like the energy is to the downside in the broader market. But we got the weekend now. We'll let the market kind of rest a bit and see what it wants to do when it picks up again on Monday. Now, Bitcoin has had a nice little surge to the upside and is actually now finally getting into this sell zone overhead. It is a large sell zone, though. So, I mean, it's just poked into it, rejected, poked into it again, rejected. But the range is getting narrower. I mean, you can see it. We're getting this. Whoops, that's a really bad straight line. There we go. That's better. We've got this, wedge pattern going on here, and it's just getting tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter. And that fits also with what we're basically seeing here. Is just this narrowing and tightening and funneling down of the price in Bitcoin. I feel like something is brewing. It's preparing for a big move of some kind. It feels like there's a lot of sort of pent up energy happening in here that is going to finally release sometime in probably the nearish future. And upside or downside, that's the question, isn't it? That's the tricky part. So as I've been saying, and it's really pretty much the same story. We have Navigator is still rising, rising, rising. It is below the zero line, but it is continually just kind of slowly trying to grind its way upwards on the daily. On the shorter term, obviously, we crossed the zero line back here and have been marching higher, but got really overextended here, and we got a bunch of magenta flashing, and that was yesterday. So more or less just kind of sideways-ish today, although with that little, kind of squeezing wedge thing going on that I already mentioned. So, if you're looking to play Bitcoin, if you're into the whole crypto thing, then the story really hasn't changed any. You need to see, whoops, let me zoom out a bit. We need to see some key levels taken out to really establish a strong directional move. We got to see it get over kind of this range here. This congestion zone here is definitely going to be resistance overhead as it tries to work its way through this sell zone, assuming that it does. I mean, it's also entirely possible that at this point Bitcoin rejects that level and heads lower, in which case we're looking for this congestion area here as a first line of support there, and then this one here as a second line to try to get over. And then obviously taking out these lows would be extremely, extremely bearish for Bitcoin in the shorter term. So right now, though, I mean, we have a pretty clear indication that it is wanting to go higher. So we have an attempt to start making higher highs and higher lows. But right now, it has not made another higher high. So it's got to clear this. That's the first thing it's got to clear to the upside. It's got to get over that high, establish a new higher high, and preferably, if you're a bull anyway, not fall below this low. That way we have a higher low and a higher high. So if we can manage to, get up into maybe this level here somewhere, then we would have a higher high, and we have the beginnings of an uptrend happening. But still, a lot of struggle Bitcoin's going to have ahead of it to get through all this overhead stuff. Now, natural gas. Natural gas had a really strong day today. On the intraday, you can see it better. I mean, really just shoved its way up there. And there was some really good trades to the long side. If you're playing long on natural gas, it has crossed the zero line on the 60-minute. So that is quite bullish on the 60-minute time frame. And right now, of course, it's just kind of going sideways, even having a little bit of a wedge sort of thing happening into the close. But basically just going sideways now the last couple of hours. And on a daily basis, we have closed above the 21 EMA, which has gone mostly sideways here. It's been very choppy and gone very sideways. But natural gas is in the upper end of this, we call it a channel, kind of between the buy zone and the sell zone. Let me actually zoom out a little bit more so we can see it better. There we go. So right now it's in this upper range. So it would be hard for me to get excited about a longer term long at these levels. I'd be more thinking to get set up for a short if it can pull up into these levels and sort of fail. But certainly intraday, there's plenty of opportunity, plenty of volatility, and plenty of movement. So intraday, you can definitely do longs if that's the way the market wants to set up, just like today. It's set up beautifully to the long side. Once you had a break above the box, really technically, even if you waited until it closed all the way above the box, you could have jumped in somewhere right in here and you had a great trade opportunity there, especially once you saw this cross to the zero. You knew you were on the right side of it. But going into Friday, I wouldn't want to be holding over the weekend, but it all depends on who you are and just what your particular approach and strategy is. Daily basis, Navigator is still green, but descending, heading towards that zero line. So it's getting weaker and weaker and weaker. And, next week, if it finally crosses below the zero line, then maybe this finally breaks and makes a run to test this lower buy zone. So that is what I'd be looking for on natural gas is either a break of these highs up here and really start moving to the upside and break through this sell zone, or a give way, maybe a break of the box, the bottom of the box here, and test the buy zone down here. Obviously, that's not going to happen in one session. Might take the whole week, but it certainly could get down there and just test in that, and then either hold or fail and head lower. But most likely, natural gas seems to want to be bouncing around back and forth between these levels. That's where it's been wanting to play, is in here for quite some time. So with that, I am going to wrap up my day. It was a fantastic day of trading for me. I hope it was a fantastic day of trading for you. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoy everything that I'm doing to try to help you guys out. And if there's anything more I can do, please do let me know. Leave me a comment. Give our videos a like. Give them a thumbs up if you find them useful or helpful. And be sure to subscribe and click that little alarm bell so that you will be reminded when we go live in the mornings and afternoons for our pre-market and post-market analyses. Next week on Tuesday, I will not be doing a post-market analysis. I've got an appointment slightly out of town. I'm going to be gone for a number of hours in the middle of the day, so I won't be able to do that. But I will be around to trade in the morning, and I'll be around for the morning pre-market. So look forward to that. But of course, I'll see you on Monday, both morning and afternoon first. So that's it, everybody. Have a great weekend. I hope you finish the week on a green note in your P&L, and I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.